Hello everyone, I'm Extra Cheesy 87 and this is Let's Play Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trials and Tribulations Part 25? Is it 25? I think it's 25. In the previous video we got fairly close to the end of Chapter 3. We are facing off against Furio Tigre, where he's not really quite backed into a corner, but we're getting there. It is possible we finish the trial in this video. We'll see though about how close we are around the 40-minute mark. You're something of a loan collecting pro, aren't you, Mr. Tigre? No one escapes the tiger's clutches. Well, I'm something of a lie detecting pro. And no one escapes the Phoenix's clutches. I think it's time we got something straight. What's this, trite? A new line of irrelevant questioning. Honestly, I don't remember what we presented. This is a new day. Oh yeah, it was that whole floor plan thing where I think I presented the photo first on the correct line, and then I presented the floor plans on the wrong line, and then I had to like go back and put the floor plan. I know there was like I figured it out what they were going for, but there was some, you know, little bit of confusion on where exactly to present what. These are the floor plans of the crime scene. You say you were standing at the entrance, Mr. Tigre? From there, your field of vision would have covered an area something like this? Indeed, the witness would have a clear view of the victim's seat. Isn't that what I just said? I saw the back of the kid's head. Unfortunately for you, it's not possible. If the court would think back, you'll remember that between each of the tables is a tall partition. Why, that's true! Now, look at the plans again. The truth is painfully obvious. From the entrance, the field of vision of any customer walking in ends here. Oh, he's sweating, dude. So, from the entrance of Trace BN, you couldn't have seen the victim's seat. But you did see the victim that day, because you met with him. Wrong! Have you forgotten the old man's testimony yesterday? The victim was alone at his table. So the defense just proved that point to be mute. Or moot. The victim witnessed by Mr. Kudo was not Glen Elg, but a fake. What? When did that happen? Oh god, Phoenix, give me one of those flashbacks. In order to have Mr. Kudo falsely testify, the real killer posed as the victim he had just killed and acted out a charade. That will do! This trial has gone on long enough without the obvious question being answered. When's lunch? Who exactly was this real killer who impersonated the victim? You say the killer murdered Glen Elg, and then impersonated his victim in a performance for Victor Kudo. In that case, Mr. Wright, reveal the identity of this criminal to the court. Now, do we... I mean, the obvious answer is Tigre, right? But, like... I don't think Violetta would have... Or Viola would have killed him. Like, I'm making sure I'm not getting tripped up, and it's like, actually, it was her who killed him, but... I can't think of any reason why she would have. He has reason to kill him. A, to get the... A, for the debt to get back, but also getting the CD since he was in debt to... with the surgery and everything. So it's gotta be our boy Tigre. Obviously, the killer is Furio Tigre. No one else could have done it. What? Well, witness. Now that's cute. You think you can pin this on the tiger? Maybe you just don't understand. The tiger's king of the jungle. Tigers don't live in the jungle. So, well, I mean, do they? Yeah. I dare say it. You've got it again. Wait, what? So I dare you to say it again. Come on, you got the guts? I was thinking of lions. You can't threaten me, Mr. Tigre. It's the defense. Go ahead and tell the witness, Mr. Wright. Mr. Wright? Sounds to me like it must just be you, old man. You's got guts, I'll give you that. Mr. Wright, do not leave me to handle this alone. Perhaps I can end this embarrassment. Mr. Gazette? Let's just go back over Mr. Kudo's testimony one more time. The old man didn't just see the victim. Oh, no, no, no. The servant girl brought him a cappuccino, so she put some in it. There's no question about it. She's very conspicuously put some white powder in it. Was the victim he saw the real victim or not? That doesn't matter. The fact remains he saw the accused put the poison into the coffee. Yes, it was the waitress who poisoned the coffee. Very impressive, Mr. Godot, waiting for my absence to launch your attack. Huh. Found your pin at last, right? It was in my pocket. I just had to run away to the bathroom real quick. That was it. But anyway, Mr. Kudo witnessed two people that day. He saw the victim, the supposed Mr. Glenelg, and the waitress from behind. Ah, yes, your point, Mr. Wright? I think the conclusion is obvious. If this Glenelg was really the killer in disguise, then surely it's possible the waitress was also part of the show? What? You mean the waitress is an imposter as well? I'm not saying it. I refuse. I refuse. The defendant, Miss Bird, fell unconscious immediately after the incident. Some kids might say she was vented, and then someone used her fainting to hatch a hatch. You know what a hatch is kind of like? An elaborate plan to pin the murder on her. Who on earth was it? Who was this waitress that Mr. Kudo witnessed? Who is this woman? Her name is Viola Cadaverini. She's an employee of Tender Linder. You's making a big mistake. You know who Violetta's grandfather is? You better be going home in an armored truck tonight if you know what I mean. Stop shaking, Nick. Where was I? Yes, the defendant, Miss Bird, has stated the following. When I took the coffee over to the victim's table, it's true there was another customer in the restaurant. She was sort of creepy. She had a kind of cackling laugh. There are just too many contradictions in this case. The second man at the victim's table, who nobody at Miss Bird seems to have seen. The earpiece, worn by the victim in his left ear when his eardrum was ruptured. And the radio show he was supposedly listening to half an hour after it was over. There's only one logical explanation that clears up all these contradictions. The whole incident took place twice, once for real and once for show. And Mr. Furio Tigre, the only person who could have committed the crime, is you. Witness, what have you got to say? Excuse? Sorry? Use I could do with a guy like you around. What do you mean? Okay, I'm in on this game. I'm gonna have to charter a jet to get to my meeting by now, but I'm gonna give you one more thing to think about before I go. Something to think about? You's got it all wrapped up nice, alright? But you's missed out on one real important thing. That can't be. I was in the joint that day, and I met that kid too. But I couldn't have poisoned him, you hear? What? Do you really expect us to believe you now, Mr. Tigre? What a troublemaker. Troublemaker? Looks like we're going to need another one for the road. One more steaming cup of hot testimony. Indeed. Witness, you will explain yourself to the court. I shall give you one more chance to testify. What happened that day at Trace Me In between yourself and the victim? Yeah, I loaned El Cash about $100,000. That day we was due to have a little chat, the kid had hit his payback date, see? So anyway, he tells me he's got no way to pay up. I'm about to flatten the guy when he starts screaming. Yes, I won $500,000. I got lucky. He got lucky, you know, real lucky. If that waitress hadn't done what she'd done, everything would have been over. Now, I see that the principal amount you loaned to Mr. Elg was $50,000. Yeah, well, he's got the VIG to take into account. Interest builds up fast, you know? That's faster than fast. $100,000 is twice his principal. And the repayment deadline was December 3rd, the day of the incident in question. Yeah, he was one lucky kid. He got that $500,000 just in time. I ain't got no reason to kill the kid. And if I ain't got no motive, you ain't got no case. His motive? He has one, but what is it? Bro, where's my HP? Are we still like on you're not allowed to press people territory, or can I press people? They haven't told me not to press anyone, so I'm going to assume that's been reset. I don't know. Did he have any way of paying the loan back? The fool was a gambler. He said he couldn't give it up till he landed a big win. So I agreed to help him. Help him? I kept hitting him with ideas to ways he could get a big win. The guy kept losing. So you were helping him for his sake or yours? Win through compromise. Yous help me, I helps yous. That's the difference. What's the difference, huh? I don't believe this. Nick, would anyone really ever loan money to someone they thought was unreliable? Like, for example, if it were you, I'd only loan you $5 max. Thanks a lot, Maya. How much were you expecting him to pay you back on that day? What do you think? The whole package, $100,000 plus interest. That's a real heavyweight punch. Once a client misses a repayment, you can call the whole loan in. You want to make it in my world, that's all you gotta know. How many times have Mr. Elg been late with his repayments? Once. And how much was he supposed to pay back every month? $50. Sounds like Mr. Elg was in a real sticky spot. Yeah, $50 a month, he'd never pay that huge loan off. How much did he have left on his debt? You want in for round figures, about $100,000. That's the whole amount. We're talking about a guy who had 58 cents in his wallet. What? You was telling me he wasn't even gonna pay for the coffee? He certainly seems to have been a brave man, this Mr. Elg. That guy was smooth, I tell you, real smooth. You'll have your money in less than 5 minutes, that's what he says to me. The guy then calls me the Tender Tiger. He was skating on thin ice with me. I'm about to flatten the guy. Was that because the guy won the lottery? It was his last chance at a big win. And you can confirm that this is the ticket in question? That's it. The Millionaire Radio Show starts at 1:30 p.m. and runs for 10 minutes. Bailiff, what time is it? And what, channel is this radio on? Asking for purely judicial purposes. That fixes the time you two met with some accuracy. And the whole scene was acted out again 30 minutes later. Also that Mr. Kudo would see it. I can still see the kid's face now, I never forget it. Was there anyone else in the restaurant at the time? I don't remember. There was no one there. I'll wear that ridiculous tiger shirt for a month. Sir Armstrong, Maggie, and if I'm right, Viola Cadaverini. We were all there at that time. So the victim had intended to repay you from his lottery winnings from the beginning? Seems that way to me. But you wouldn't normally expect to win the lottery, would you? The undying belief that your next roll will end the worst losing streak you've ever had? That's what defines a true gambler. Is that why you're here trying to beat us again? Fucking got him. He makes it sound so cool. Don't be tempted, Nick. You haven't got the willpower for it. All I know is the kid took a shot and he got lucky in the end. The waitress, you mean... The girl with the glasses in the defendant's chair. Who else could I mean? If he hadn't gotten in the way, things would have been bada bing, bada boom, over and done with. Maybe I should push a little on this. What do you mean things would have been over and done with? Are yous all there or what? I'm talking about the cash. I was there to get my 100,000 bucks back, that's all. I'm a businessman. It was all coming together before the waitress got in the way. Would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for that dang waitress in her meddling apron. As far as I can tell from the witness's testimony, other than recouping his loan, Mr. Tigra had no motive for killing the victim. Witness, you will amend your testimony to reflect what you just said. Tiger's motive, huh? And we know it's the CD, but I feel like I'm getting ahead of myself. Like, I don't know if we've made enough of a it feels like it's very out of nowhere to bring up the CD, because I mean there's like a couple lines there, right? We'd have to, and we do know that he had the CD because we stole it from his office, and for the most part the game is pretty much okay with theft when we do it. But we don't have any actual evidence about like the virus itself, like why it's being used, or any evidence that he has used it. But, you know, the fact that it's worth that much and he's in debt, I think that would be like the line there, but I don't know if we present it just yet. So you're saying you had no other motives that day? Yes, so what? Then why didn't you take the lottery ticket when you left? What do you think? Cause the 4-ass over there. It's a Maggie. How's about you go and ask 4-ass for that $500,000 ticket? She wanted it so bad, she poisoned Elg's coffee. Okay, so you're saying she poisoned him, but like, I don't think we have any evidence that she delivered the coffee afterwards, though. So, like, that would be the, you know, the main contradiction there. Is that she wouldn't have known he had won? A likely theory. Your word hasn't held water lately, Mr. Tigre. Let's not forget this witness was actually at the scene, Wright. The law don't exactly agree with some of the details I sent down. I couldn't be there when the cops showed up, so I split. I see. Your Honor. The witness's last few statements are worth a good 2 cups of coffee. Well, Mr. Wright, are you happy with the testimony, or would you like it amended? Have it amended. I'm not going to get anywhere with the testimony as it stands. Your Honor, the defense would like to testimony amended. Very well. Witness, you will amend your testimony to reflect your recent statements. Trying to pin the crime on Maggie. If I ask him about what he saw, it's only going to damage our case. What do you mean things would have been over and done with? Okay, so this is this again. Okay, so that's the question. Do we want this or the motive one? I don't know. I just give him the lottery ticket, that would have been the end of it. You know, so what's the tiger's motive? This is the big one. If I don't manage to underrun this testimony, it's all over for us. Okay, I think I've got the line here. He was going to give the CD to pay off his debt, but he won the lottery at that moment, and so then he was just going to pay him that. but they already knew the CD was worth more, and that's why they killed him? Does seem very impromptu. I think we press, change the motive back, and try and present the CD. Okay, that worked. I just didn't know if, you know, there was supposed to be more lead up to this or what. So you intended to just get back the $100,000 Mr. Elg owed you, correct? I'll own the guy that cast, that's my right. Unfortunately for Mr. Elg, I don't believe the $100,000 is what you were really after.
Objection.
What are you getting at, Wright? What else would a moneylender be after other than money? Lender. Oh, the moneylender was after money, but money in a totally different league. Kind of money that a single disc like this would fetch. Oh, what is that? Is that my fire-ass mixtape? A computer virus, Your Honor. A virus called MC Bomber. A computer virus? Well, what does one of those do? If you're sick, Mr. Wright, you should really go out of the courtroom. I mean, it's kind of rude of you to come in here without a mask in the first place. I mean, we have to, court is closed. Forever. Goodbye. A computer virus is a program that wreaks havoc on the insides of a computer. A computer? What does one of those do? I guess the beard isn't the only part of his honor that it's from the Stone Age. I'll explain it to you later, Your Honor. Right now, this is the important point. A virus like MC Bomber would be worth several $1 million on the black market. Several $1 million? What do you do with those? Lending money with no hope of ever seeing repayment would normally be bad for business. But in this case, the very fact that Glen Elk had no way to repay the money is crucial. So I guess, like, were they already planning on killing him ahead of time? Because, I mean, it does seem very, you know, sudden. What? Glen Elk is a programmer, a highly skilled programmer. That skill wasn't the collateral Mr. Elg. That skill was the collateral Mr. Elg put up in order to borrow the money.
Objection.
You're trying to suggest the witness's motive was to get a hold of that program? Exactly. The witness may have poor fashion sense, but he is by no means an idiot, right? A man like him could get his hands on $1 million without resorting to murder. Of course he could, provided that he had time. But what if he needed the money right then? When the pressure's on, the luxury of choice tends to disappear. It seems you have a logical conclusion for this theory, Mr. Wright. Would you care to share it with us? No, you wouldn't know the theory. It lives in Canada. In December of last year, you found yourself in need of a huge amount of money. About 6 months ago, you were involved in a traffic accident, weren't you? An accident involving a car and a scooter in which a young woman was injured. She was taken to the hospital where she underwent surgery. How much of this do you know? These medical papers document the treatment of the young woman in question. According to these, her operation cost $1 million. And yet when the repayment was due last month, you somehow managed to pay it in full. $1 million? A preposterous sum. Someone should sue those HMOs. Hey, I mean, he said it, not me. No one would pay a bill like that. The medical association got wind of it, the hospital would end up as dead as a morgue. What do you... That's how you know this game was not actually made in America. But Mr. Tiger had no choice but to pay, because his very life depended on it. Order! 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 You say his life depended on it, Mr. Wright. Indeed it did, simply because the injured woman was none other than Viola Cadaverini. Did you say Cadaverini? Bruto Cadaverini, mob boss in charge of all underworld activities in the city, and doting grandfather to his precious Violetta, also known as Viola Cadaverini. Your life was in danger unless you paid compensation to the boss, correct? It makes sense. You were desperate to acquire the $1 million Bruto Cadaverini demanded of you. So desperate, in fact, you decided to sacrifice Glen Elg's life to pay your debt. On the day of the murder, Mr. Tigre's sole intention was to get his hands on this CD. Glen Elg had no way of paying back the $100,000, and Mr. Tigre knew it. But then a miracle happened. The kind that Mr. Tigre would prefer to say never happened, and he can't, and neither can I. Okay, I mean, that kind of makes sense. So the murder wasn't... I mean, it doesn't. Because it's like, on one hand, planning to kill him ahead of time seems a little weird. But on the other hand, planning to kill him... like, coming up with the idea to kill him so suddenly, like he was just carrying poison around on him. Because he wouldn't have had to kill him normally. He would have just gotten the CD and been like, okay, you know, yeah, the payment's like way off, but you're not paying in cash, so you lose all your rights. I don't know. The kind that Mr. Tigre would prefer say never happened, and he can't. But neither can I. The lottery win? Exactly. At the 11th hour, Mr. Elg won $500,000 in the lottery. Which left Mr. Tigre with no way of getting his hands on the all-important CD. Sorry, I had a couple sneezes there. At least no legitimate way. So he resorted to illegitimate means. That's crazy. He murdered Glen Elg and then made his next move. To frame Maggie Bird for the crime? Mr. Tigre posed as Glen... I mean, honestly, this whole thing, like, is just way too fucking over the... Like, the whole plan of, like, posing as Glen Elg, like, it had to have been... based on the logic here, something that he came up with on the spur of the moment after Maggie fainted. Like, it just seems so far-fetched. And not necessarily in a good way. While Viola Cadaverini played the role of Miss Bird. And then they reenacted the whole thing in order to establish a witness. The witness being the one we all heard testify yesterday, Mr. Victor Kudo. Like I said, Trey, that's crazy. Don't look a pull off a stunt like that. For starters, there's no way the chef could have been kept in the dark about it. Mr. Armstrong was in on it from the very beginning. Have you forgotten already, Mr. Goodzot? Mr. Armstrong owed the witness money too. $500,000, in fact. He had no choice but to go along with Mr. Tigre's plan. Order? I didn't get to read it. You just put on a good show, Spiky. You just want to stay alive in the long sharp business, you gotta be careful. You saying I dressed up like that kid created a witness and framed someone? If I did something crazy like that, I'd leave a trail as bright as my shirt. I ain't dumb enough to do something sloppy like that. I agree. You do. Despite your appearance, you were very careful. Until you took one more precaution. One more trick to make sure Maggie Bird had no way out. What? Another one? Mr. Wright! Interesting. Why don't you fill us all in, Trite? What was the trick you say Mr. Tigre performed to frame the accused? I mean, it doesn't really make sense, but it's the only thing we have left, is the paper badge. Because, I mean, unless there's no evidence that he was able to force her to faint. Well, actually, the potassium. Because, I mean, the setting her up as a lawyer wouldn't actually... Well, I mean, it's kind of... It's really... It's not framing. It's basically just ensuring that a conviction happens. But the framing was putting the cyanide in her pocket. And what's the relevance of that trite? Oh, come on. It actually, like, the way the question is phrased, the poison is what framed her. An intro what? Yeah, whatever. God, the HP system is so bad. And it's like, they had it perfect in the first game, and then they just made it bad. Like, it refreshing after the end of each trial, or the end of each trial section. Like, why mess with that? Why make it objectively worse? Because, like, I mean, the whole 5 strikes, you're out was just so much more, like, balanced, it felt like. What are we? I don't even know where we're at in the story.
Objection.
What on earth is that? What an insult to think anyone could be full of your childish information. Consider yourself insulted, Your Honor. Mr. Tigray, you didn't just pose as the victim in the day in question. A month ago in this very court, you posed as me. What? That's the truth. But the witness looks nothing like you, Mr. Wright. Although, now that I think about it, it was you, wasn't it? No doubt it was you, standing in here, this very court, a mere month ago. The Phoenix Wright who put on the most disreputable, shabby defense I've ever seen. Where's your cup? Can you prove that, Gramps? Prove the attorney who represented the accused here a month ago was this man? Are you prepared to take the stand and testify that it was him? Hey. Forget about it, yeah? I wouldn't do something like that, not me. You made a mistake, right? It was someone else, huh? Have you no pride, sir? This isn't a matter of pride. In case you didn't know, right here in this court, we deal with people's lives. Mr. Godot is right. Your Honor, speaking for myself, I am absolutely convinced. The attorney in question was a witness standing before me now. However, I preside over this court as a judge, with the vested power to hand down a verdict. Someone in my position cannot be swayed by memory without the evidence to support it. Come on, man! If the defense has no further evidence, the court will now excuse the witness. Circumstances surrounding Mr. Tigray are dubious for sure, but not conclusive. I mean, you know what I'm thinking, right? Like, that shit that sentence makes no goddamn sense, and you consider that, like, we just failed and then they immediately declare them guilty, even though we've added so much reasonable doubt. I don't know, because I mean, like, I don't think the HP system should be removed entirely, because I think it is kind of okay for there to be at least some level of tension there, and so that you don't just, I mean, you still can just present shit randomly. It's basically just, do you want to waste your time or not? I mean, there's no real, like, that's the only thing that's the only real limiting factor, is how much time do you want to waste. But it just felt like the more forgiving nature of the way it works in the first game, where, like, if you got stumped on, like, one thing, you weren't just gimped for literally the rest of the trial. Like, to the same degree, basically. I don't know. I feel like I never had any issues with the HP system in the first game, but in, like, this game and the third one, ever since they changed it to have, like, more times where you end up losing, like, you know, 3 or 4 or all of your, HP at once. You say impersonated Glen Oak. You say impersonated you. None of that adds up to a murder charge. You don't have a shred of evidence the witness poisoned the victim's coffee. Sucks to be you, right? Don't mess with the tiger. You're gonna get mauled. Just got that? All he managed to do was chase him around a bit. I was so close to getting him to admit his own guilt. Looks like I won't be needing a refill. I had just one more piece of evidence. Oh, some decisive piece of evidence that someone were to run in at the last minute and present. One more piece of evidence and maybe I could get Maggie off the hook. I got it. This lunchbox. But when this cross-examination is over, you are free to go, Mr. Tigray. Your Honor, sir. I'd say it's actually like the same image from the last game. When, what's her name? Francesca comes in. It's not a rehash, okay? It's a completely original I mean, you know, whatever. Wait! Detective? Detective Gumshoe? Sorry it took so long, pal. I staked everything on this. My badge, the works. And granted, doesn't Gumshoe do the same thing in the last game? Well, yeah, he's not the one who comes up with the evidence, but there is that whole thing with him trying to track down Maya at the same time. You know, at the last minute. That does happen in the last game as well. Staked everything on this. My badge, the works. So here it is. My heart's counting on this too. What is it, detective? Isn't it obvious, pal? It's another dang lunchbox. It's the final decisive piece of evidence. What? I mean, it's, I don't know. I preferred it more in the last game, because A, the Francesca thing was a bit more... Like, it wasn't as heavily telegraphed, I guess, and plus it being her was a bit... Like, I don't know. More interesting than it being Gumshoe to save us when he's, like, done it before. It's not, like, out of character. Sorry it took so long, pal, but I finally got the results in the lab. The results? About the prints, pal, in this medicine bottle. Oh, so, do you know who the prince belongs to now? No. See ya. Do you think I'm some sort of hack detective? Of course I know. So, tell us. They're the tigers, right? I knew it. You bet. Clear ass crystal all over the bottle. They're Furio Tigray's paw prints, alright. That's great, we found him now, Nick. What's wrong with you? You've hardly said a word since after Gumshoe got here. He's laid everything on the line for this, Nick. I know, look, I'm sorry. This is kind of hard to say, but... It really doesn't make any difference who prints are on that bottle now. Huh, what? Why not? What we need to produce at this stage of the trial is irrefutable evidence that the tiger put poison in Glen Elk's coffee. He's already admitted that he met the victim. The fact that his prints are on this bottle... I mean, that really doesn't make any difference now. I knew it. Great, no matter how hard I try, I'm never of any use. Hey, don't be so hard on yourself. This is our last chance to help Maggie. And I've been working on some useless piece of evidence the whole time. It's alright, I'm a real... Bro, if you make me redo this whole fucking game because I picked the wrong piece of evidence, the LP is actually fucking over. I'm a real loser. It's not breaking news to me, pal. I will, like, uninstall this shit and never think about it again. I mean, I assume there's no way they would do that, but if they do, this episode is not part 25, it's part finale. Detective Gumshoe? Maggie? You've been working on something for me? Sorry I let you down, Maggie. I know you didn't do it. And I'm a detective. We're supposed to be able to prove stuff like that. I'm really sorry. I'll get out of your hair now. Detective Gumshoe, wait! He's gone. Isn't there anything we can do now, Nick? I wish there was. Gumshoe worked so hard to get that evidence. If only there was some way I could use it. Mr. Wright. Yes, Your Honor? I'm granting you a recess so you can prepare this decisive evidence you discovered. Yeah. Don't keep us all in suspense, Wright. Show us. Naturally. We can assume it's evidence that will actually stand up in court, can't we? Think, Phoenix. Don't let Gumshoe's hard work go to waste. How much more of my time you guys gonna waste? I ain't been in no court before. The used lawyers should know how to blow things out of proportion. No doubt, given the nature of the evidence, it will speak for itself. Nevertheless, you will take us through it, Mr. Wright. Oh, no, I can't prove anything new with this evidence. I'm really backed into a corner here, but maybe if he thinks he's got me beat, he'll let his guard down a bit. Don't keep us waiting any longer, Mr. Wright. Present this final piece. I assume I present the small bottle. This is the defense's final piece of evidence. Isn't that the victim's? Yes, Your Honor. Naturally, the court is already aware of the contents of this bottle. However, interesting new information has come to light. We have clearly identified some fingerprints on it. Fingerprints belonging to you, Mr. Tigre. What? But Mr. Wright, what conclusion are you hoping to draw from this new information? Everyone in here knows what this bottle contains. Except one man. One person in this courtroom should theoretically be in the dark. My prints are on that pansy-looking bottle, is that what you saying? Well, what the hell's in it anyway? Phony trial, a phony lawyer, and phony clues. Everything about this case has been phony. Seems like the perfect excuse for some phony evidence. Mr. Tigre, this is a decisive piece of evidence that will prove your guilt! Why? Because it contains... This bottle contains potassium cyanide. Potassium cyanide? The poison used to murder Mr. Elg, Your Honor. The victim's killer used this very bottle. And on this bottle, Mr. Tigre, we found your fingerprints. Well, how do you explain that? Oh, he's ha-ha-ha. You make a good clown, you know that? What? You just ain't ever gonna get this to stick. You just making me laugh now. You think a cheap bluff like that's gonna fool the tiger? Bluff? I can see straight through you, Phoenix Rat. That ain't the bottle with the cyanide in it. No. This is the bottle we found traces of the poison in. Don't mess with the tiger. You're gonna get ripped to shreds. Cyanide bottle was brown. It was made of glass. That cheap piece of trash. Don't look nothing like it. Okay, so we got him. Got him. At last. What? Why is everyone going quiet? I said that bottle. Is this the bottle you're referring to? Yeah, that's it. That's the bottle the cyanide was in. But you ain't never gonna find my prints on that bottle. Don't let that cozy looking suit fool you people. The lawyer's just playing games. Tell him, Mr. Prosecutor. Tell that guy where to go. You still haven't figured it out? Don't you realize what you just said? What I said? What did I say? You were summoned to this court for the first time earlier today. You really had nothing to do with the murder. You shouldn't have known all the little details. For instance, you shouldn't have known what kind of bottle the potassium cyanide was in. Everyone knows potassium cyanide's in brown bottles. Dummy. Well, you didn't go to potassium cyanide class at school? But just now, you slipped up in front of every single person in this courtroom. You described the exact bottle used by the killer to hold the poison. You just don't know about who you're messing with. I'm the tiger. I control millions of dollars on the black market. You think I'm just gonna let some jumpsuit suit get the better of me? Sure, the last piece of evidence was phony. That's just what you deserve. The phony trial with a phony lawyer. It was all played out by you, the biggest phony of all. No. You tricked me once already, game. What's going on? It looks like a blackout. Goodbye. Oh, he's got little lights. Did he throw coffee at us again? Because I noticed that was his like coffee expression. Well done, Wright. He did. Little fuck boy. I saved my 17th cup of coffee just for you. Savor it. While you watch the police restrain your prey. Mr. Wright, you caught a tiger by his toe, but this one hollers he won't be let go. Mr. Wright, why aren't you laughing? I thought it was really funny. No? Okay. I guess, time to just not commit to the comedian path after I retire. Now then, how are things going with Mr. Tigre, Mr. Godot? He's being arrested on suspicion of the murder of Mr. Glenn Elg, Your Honor. Fortunately for us, you managed to rectify a very grave error. Miss Bird was found guilty in the absence of a genuine defense attorney. Yes, she was. And in the absence of genuine evidence, the tiger made one mistake. Indeed! He very nearly got away with everything if it wasn't for that one slip of the tongue. Rio Tigre is truly a frightening criminal. The truly frightening one is that defense attorney over there. Godot. Well, I'm now in position to deliver my verdict. This court finds the defendant, Maggie Bird. She's still guilty. Fuck it. Who's gonna hold me accountable? See ya. That is all. The court is adjourned. Mr. Wright, I'm at a loss for words. Thank you, sir. Congratulations, Maggie. I was so mad when Mr. Wright landed me in all that trouble a month ago. And now I feel like I can forgive him. Hey, that wasn't me, Maggie. That was the tiger. Look, Nick in the doorway. Detective Gumshoe. Oh, guess I'll be heading off then. See you around, pal. Wait! I gotta present the lunchbox, dude. Detective Gumshoe. Oh yeah, congratulations, Maggie. Thanks. I knew you were innocent all along. Why didn't you say that in your testimony then? Well, like, I mean, I fucking tried, man. The judge came and interrupted me, and the dude was gonna throw coffee at me, and I mean, you know how hot coffee is? Well, I was... Well, I guess I'll be heading off then. See you around. Wait up, detective! He just ran off. Maggie, why are you being so hard on him? He busted his butt for you. It's thanks to him that we got the medication bottle. That wasn't even of any use. But... only because Mr. Wright used it so cleverly. Detective Gumshoe was just running around in circles. Poor guy. Looks like she still isn't ready to forgive him. Can't you put in a good word for him, Nick? Yeah, Maya's right. I should help Gumshoe out. It's clear he needs it. Maggie, you notice Detective Gumshoe's been really worried about you through all this. I wanted to believe that, sir. On that first day of the trial, he practically gave the judge a free pass to lock me up. He didn't have any choice, Maggie. He's a detective. He has to report the facts. He doubted me, that's why. He thought I might have done it. I gotta prove to her that Gumshoe really cares about her. I know, I'll give her a little present to celebrate her freedom. An attorney's badge. Here you are, a present to celebrate your freedom. That's a present from Detective Gumshoe made with a ton of love. He said you lost weight and was worried about you. Detective Gumshoe... I actually really like weenies. You know? did you guys hear that? I'm pretty hungry myself, you know. Yeah, the trial dragged on a bit today, didn't it? Is it okay if I eat this now? So, how is it, Maggie? It's really good. Then the case of phony versus genuine comes to an end. The false allegations surrounding Maggie have all been cleared up. And who knows, maybe a whole new chapter of her life is about to start. I mean, I feel like this case is a bit, like, I mean, the conclusion, like, it feels more conclusive than the last episode, case, chapter, trial, whatever you want to call it. Still, I don't know. I'm not super sold on it. Oh, look at that lady. She's got a gun, dude. Does that mean we're gonna have gun evidence again, and we can present it? Okay, no, we can't actually hit any buttons here, or else it's gonna start the opening trial cutscene, and we're at 50 minutes already. But just like a few, I mean, I don't know. If I had to compare it to like episode 3 from like the last game, do I like this one more? Not really. I mean, just the whole like, I mean, both this episode and the last one have the same problem of like they just kind of like they're really good until they aren't good. Like they just kind of like fall apart with the conclusion. Like the second one, the second chapter just felt like it wasn't finished. Like there was still a ton of loose ends that were never really explained. This one kind of has it as well. Like I mean, the whole like killing Glen Elg thing doesn't really make any sense. Like the way they pulled it off, like the idea that he just like is carrying potassium cyanide on around him at all times, and like the plan only works if Maggie faints in the first place, and how is he able to pose as Glen Elg so capably when they look nothing alike? I mean, at least with the Phoenix Wright thing, they kind of look the same. Why did he pick Phoenix Wright? Like, I mean, it's a lot of like nitpicks, but when you put them all together, then I don't know. But we'll see how it keeps going. I will admit, so far the first 2 chapters, not my favorites, because it's really just comes down to like the endings and the conclusions, because they were really good, but then they just didn't feel like they had a good payoff at the end, I guess. But we'll see how it keeps going on from here. Still enjoying the game, aside from minor annoyances at the. I will say the questions and the prompts in this trial were much better than in episode 2. I think the only. I can't remember what tripped me up in part 4 of the trial. I know we messed something up. It was really just a few different things where like I had the right idea for basically everything, but it was just occasionally either presenting the wrong evidence on the wrong piece of dialogue, or presenting the right evidence on the wrong piece of dialogue, stuff like that. But I will admit that gameplay and prompt wise, those were all very good. I didn't really have any issue with any of them, even that one at the end that kind of annoyed me with the what is the proof that he framed her. I mean, I think it's more just like a wording issue, not. I definitely get why it was the badge, and I thought the badge at first, but I didn't know if that was getting ahead of myself. But alrighty, I am Extra Cheesy 87. Stay tuned for the next part, and bye, guys.